Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? All right. So I'm gonna read. Well, I'm going to school right now. I'm learning a lot about tribal critical race theory, critical whiteness, and critical race theory. And so I wrote the paper about that. It's a little bit different for me. It's called "I Reclaim My Humanity." And so I begin. I live in a state of colonialism where it enjoys strong support from the state apparatuses of imperial powers. The legacy of such colonialism is a love child called coloniality of power, a new way of legitimizing the already old ideas and practices of relations of superiority and inferiority between the dominant and the dominated. This legitimization was developed within the colonization of the Americans and gave birth to new ideas such as race, an idea that does not have a known history before the colonization of America. New social identities emerged, such as Indians, black, mestizos. As such, the legacy for me is living between two worlds, crossing borders on a daily basis, while my experience is silence. I am in constant state of nepantla, a word coined by Nahuatl speakers meaning to be or feel in between. This word is only possible in the mouths of Amerindians, but not of Spanish. Such a word comes to represent my experiences, which are isolated because minoritized populations live in this reality. This state defines my state of being. As an indigenous person, my voice is left out of the conversation because I live in a black-white binary. I become invisible. I become a forgotten self. My voice is never heard, and our theories are dismissed as stories. Instead, these stories serve as roadmaps for our communities and are reminders of our own responsibilities to the survival of such communities. Professor Bell provides an example of such an experience by a grandmother who, tired and worn, retraced her steps home, laid aside her mask, and re-entered herself because she made herself invisible, then visible again to sustain her family. Bell Hooks suggests that if we really want to create a cultural climate where biases are challenged and changed, all border crossings must be seen as valid. This becomes a daily battle fought in many areas of our society. In particular, this is true in the educational system designed as an enterprise that encourages the maintenance of whiteness by deflecting its color-blind racism. In order to combat such a system that spews the culture of domination through promotion of lying and denial, a new form of pedagogy is necessary, one that promotes an unbiased, inclusive perspective, one that moves away from the natural way in which domination has come to be. But this requires commitment from ourselves in order to combat the teachings of classrooms that reflect the notion of a single norm of thought and experience. Audre Lorde posits that survival is not academic skill, but rather it is learning how to take our differences and make them strengths. In order to combat this, it is necessary to move away from the cultural responsive teaching methods because these are part of the master's tools. Instead of rarely teaching race, racism, and white supremacy, teaching must include awareness of race, sex, and class, with the understanding that these may lead to confrontation, forceful expression of ideas, or even conflict. This is transformative pedagogy centering on community in order to create a climate of openness and intellectual rigor. A pedagogy addressing colonization as endemic to society. Particularly important is embracing voice through passion of experiences, defined by bell hooks as encompassing many feelings, but particularly suffering, for there is a particular knowledge that comes from suffering. This suffering leads to dialogue and growth, because students of color are taught that they lack a human quality to render them worthy. It is through this vulnerability that I and many other students reaffirm our humanity. It is through transformative pedagogy that I have the opportunity to move away from silence because this is an act of complicity. Silence ensures invisibility. Silence provides protection. Silence masks. Thus, it is time to reclaim our humanity through knowledge and self-determination in the form of experience and power. It is time for me to speak up and move away from a deficit mentality and take control of my own education and the education of others like myself who have been marginalized. It is time to take control of how we study our stories and plan for our future. It's time to validate our humanity, our right to uncover my silence amidst a sea of whiteness, to liberate my soul and face the fears of being forgotten, a right as a sign of protest to shut the silence that is so uncomfortable. I reclaim my humanity in Xochitl Incuadro. Thank you.